record it, allowing those who subscribe but who can't attend this webinar to receive this one. And you will also have the replay if needed. I will share my screen as well. And we can start. So hello everyone, and thank you for attending this webinar. So the subject today is the assessment of group members. So just to remind, we organized webinar every Tuesday at 11:30 in French and 2 p.m. in English. This webinar will last 30 minutes and will be recorded. And if you have questions, you will be able to ask me at the end of this webinar. And if you need to see some point, I will go back. I can explain you again. So this is the agenda of today. So first we'll see the use case, which is the assessment of group members. Then I will present you the platform, and at the end, your questions. Just to introduce myself, so my name is Jean, and at ChallengeMe, I'm in charge of supporting the users, the use of the platform. It can be on technical questions, so how to set up your challenge, but also on pedagogical questions regarding the different way to integrate the peer review in your courses, because you can use it in lots of different ways. Regarding ChallengeMe, we're a peer review platform, and we exist since 2015. We are integrated in the main LMS of the market, like Moodle, Blackboard, Brightspace, even Camilo. At the moment of the LMS integrate the LTI standard, we can be integrated in. And we work with lots of business schools, engineering schools as well, and universities, mainly in France, but also in we begin to work in Switzerland and Canada. So regarding the use case of today, which is the assessment of group members, this short picture explaining the two approach that we have in ChallengeMe. So the first one is the assessment of ROC. So this is not the subject of today, but I will still explain you what is it, and the assessment of group members. Regarding the assessment of ROC, we'll ask the student to submit the ROC to the platform, and then we'll ask them to assess the ROC of others on different criteria defined by the teacher. So the idea here is to allow the student to assess the work of others following the criteria defined. So they will focus their attention on the different criteria. They will assimilate more notions, and at the end, they will also discover the different feedback they received on their work. So the idea is to develop the art skills of the student because they have to assess a production. Regarding the subject of today, which is the assessment of group members, here we won't ask the student to submit a production because they will have to assess their group members with whom they have collaborated, and they will have to assess them with criteria defined by the teacher. And it will allow them to prepare themselves for the professional world by learning how to give an effective feedback and also how to receive the feedback from their peers. And this is a good exercise for them to train in this competence. It's interesting also for them to develop their soft skills because by feeding the feedback for the criteria and by learning what does it mean for the different criteria, they will understand what the skills expected for an effective group work. And for the teacher, it will be interesting because they will be easily able to identify what we call the free rider, which are the students who will rely on others, so they won't be implicated as the others. And it can generate lots of frustration for the other students when they have free rider in their group. So as a teacher, you will be able to identify them easily. And it has also a preventive effect. So when the students know that this kind of assessment will take place, they will become aware of the importance of getting involved. So it can be interesting to announce this kind of assessment before the group work. So now we can see what is a challenge concretely. So what we call a challenge at ChallengeMe, it's a peer review activity. For those who knew the old version, before we can launch two kinds of challenge. The first option was the assessment of group members. So you can see it in the example number 1. You had a phase, a teammate assessment phase and a result phase. You also could launch assessment of work. At this moment, you had a submission phase, assessment of work phase, and a result phase. And you couldn't change the sequence of the phases. With the new version, which is now available since the end of 2023 and the beginning of this year, you can define the challenge you want. So you can add the number of phases you want to a challenge. You can have different submission phases, different assessment phases. You can have phases running in the same time. So you can really fit the challenge to your pedagogical scenario. And you can have different phases in your challenge. So you have submission phases where you ask the student to submit a work to the platform. You have the assessment of work phases where the participants have to assess the work submitted by their peers. The assessment of group members, so this is this kind of phase we will see today. So here the participants have to assess the participation of their group members. The assessment of feedback. So this phase allows the participant to indicate if they found the feedback they received relevant or not. And the result phase allowing the student to find out the feedback they received and the different grades they received. So now we saw what is concretely a challenge. I propose you now to see what does it look, what it looks like in the student side. I will switch my screen to a Moodle environment. So I say Moodle, but it will work exactly in the same way if you use Blackboard or if you use a Brightspace or any other LMS. Okay, now you should see. I think you can see my screen now. So here I'm in the Moodle environment. So all the interfaces that you will see now are on the student side. So to access an activity on the student side, I just have to click on it, and then I will be redirected to the ChallengeMe interface. So if I just go back to this interface, so a ChallengeMe activity is represented like the other you can have in your LMS, just another activity included in your course. Once the student click on it, they will be able to find out the different phases of the challenge. So here I have 5 phases. You just switch in English and translate the page because we don't have for now demo environment in English. Just a quick second. Maybe if it will work. Okay, I will do it again. Maybe it's still in French. Try last time. Okay, some part will be in English, but some part in French. If you need some more explanation, do not hesitate to ask me. So here the students will see the different phases they have to participate. So each of the phases have a start date and end date. So this is a submission phase, and we have a work assessment phase, etc. Because this is a demo environment, so we included all the phases that you can launch in a challenge. For our subject, which is the assessment of group members, you will have these phases allowing the student to assess their teammate with whom they have collaborated. So to access it, they just have to click on this phase and they will see their group members. So here I'm in a group of 5 people. So I can assess each of my teammates, me included, on different criteria. So here, for example, I have communication within the group, common objective, creativity, critical thinking skills, etc. So I can assess each of these criteria, and I can also add a qualitative feedback for each of these criteria. As a teacher, I can choose to activate a feedback field for each of the criterion, or to just add an overall feedback field. So it depends on what the kind of challenge I want to launch. I can assess each of my teammates, and each of the criteria have a description attached indicating how I can assess it as a student. So I will have a description regarding what does it mean for between 1 and 3 stars, between 4 and 6, etc. Once I read this description, I can assess these all of these criteria from 1 to 10 stars. I can do it for each of my teammates. I have to validate at the end to be sure that it will be taken into account. And once it's done, and when the results phase is available, I will be able to access it. So I will click on it. And here I will be able to check out the results I received. So here I can see that I received a score of 7.2 out of 10. I can see here the average for each of the criterion. And I can see the different feedback I received from my peers. Everything is anonymous, so I don't know from who the feedback are. But during the assessment phase, of course, I need to know who I am assessing. So I have it's not anonymous during the assessment phase. In the case you are assessing rock, it will be anonymous because you will just have to assess a rock and not your group members. So for our case, just 2 phases, assessment of group members and result phase. If you are interested on the other phase, do not hesitate to send me a message at the end of the webinar, and I will send you some resources explaining how does it work. So this is for the student side. Regarding how to create a challenge in the teacher side, I will now show you how to do it. So the first thing to do is to be logged in a course with the teacher right. And the teacher right will allow you to add an activity to your course. So I'm now logged as a teacher. So I can switch to edition mode in Moodle, or if you are in Brightspace or Blackboard, you have the same kind of feature. And you can add an activity like any other activity you would add to your course. And here in the selector, you will be able to choose ChallengeMe when it's integrated. So I click on ChallengeMe. I will name my activity. And then I will click on Save and Display. And open a new window. And here you will land on this page. So in this page, you will be able to create your challenge, so your peer review activity. You can create it in 2 different ways. The first way is the simplified mode. So in this mode, you will complete a form with information we ask you by choosing the kind of challenge you want to launch. At the end, it will send us a challenge request. So our team will check it and we will generate it if everything is correct. If we see some missing information, we'll ask you to send them to us and we will add it for you. So this is the historical mode. So it allows the teacher to launch a challenge easily and to be sure that it will run correctly. We had a new mode, which is a direct mode, allowing the teacher to launch their challenge directly without having a validation in our side. So to access it, you just have to click on direct mode. It allows you to have more flexibility, and you can edit it by yourself if you want. But it's if you need support, of course, we can help you to create your challenge. So you just have to ask us if needed. So you click. I will show you the. Yep.
Sorry, can I just ask a question?
Yes, of course.
So if you could maybe go back.
Yep.
Or yeah, so you mentioned that once we decide to click on, yeah, so the purple one in the middle, so evaluating group members, what do you mean exactly by so when you find out that some information is not correct, I mean, don't we just upload everything there, like the evaluation criteria and the different groups and the members? So what would you be correcting?
Let's imagine you forgot to add a participant when you create your challenge. We'll warn you that you have to add your participant. Or if you made a mistake on the date, on the due date, or if it's not, we can see some weird settings we didn't see it, we didn't see before. We can warn you to be sure that it's what you want to do. So the only difference between the simplified mode and the direct mode is with the simplified mode, it will be necessary in our side to validate your challenge. But because now it's possible to create in direct mode, I would recommend to use direct mode because you will have access to all the features of ChallengeMe. And if you need us to check it, of course we can. So just send us an email and we can check everything and tell you if everything is correct.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.
That's why I will show you direct mode because the idea is that all the participants who will be able to create a challenge in direct mode. But you can still use the simplified mode if you prefer. If you used to create your challenge with simplified mode. Is it? Do I answer your question?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Perfect. You're welcome. So once you click on direct mode, you will land on this page. I will just switch to English. Just have to refresh it. Sorry. Okay. So you will land here, and here you can choose the kind of assessment you want to launch. You can create from scratch, but you can also choose template. So for this example, I will show you from a template because this is the easiest way to create a challenge about the assessment of group members. So to do it, I will click on assessment of group members, and then I can choose this template, which is the template of our subject today. If you want to see the other template, you can just click on Discover, and it will explain you the interest of these activities, the different steps included, etc. So here, I will select this one. I click on Create. So here I can name my challenge. So here it's evaluation of group members. I can add a summary if needed. It's optional, but you can do it. And the main things will be here. So here, I can see the different phases of the template. So here I can see that I have 3 phases. The first phases is the group registration phases. Here, these phases will represent the work done commonly by the groups. So it's a fictive phase, as the participant won't have to participate to this phase. It's just to subscribe, to enroll the students and the groups to the challenge. So here you just have to click on these phases, go to the participant tab, and add the participant. You can define date, instruction, etc., but it won't be useful because the student don't have to participate to this phase. So the only information you need to add in these phases is to enroll the participant. To do it, you have 2 options. You can enroll them directly regarding the group you have in your LMS. So let's imagine you use the group feature in your LMS in Moodle or Brightspace or Blackboard. You can import them directly. So to do it, you can click on Enroll Teams. And here you will be able to select the group present in your Moodle course. So here I have 4 groups. I can select all of those groups. So I will select it here. And then I will be able to click on Select and to enroll. So here I can see that I enrolled 4 teams. So if you have 100 teams, it will work exactly on the same way. You will select all the teams of your Moodle course. For now, in my example, I can do it directly. If you try to do it now, you won't have the team synchronized directly. So you just have to ask us to synchronize your activity with your Moodle course to let the team accessible in this interface. Very soon you will have a button allowing you to do it, but for now you have to ask us. If you don't want to use the group from your Moodle page, you can import group from an Excel sheet. So you can do it. I will unenroll everyone. And I will click here and I will click on import participant. And here I can copy paste the list of users I want to add. So to see the different information expected, I can see it here. So you can check it here. And then you just have to create your file and copy paste the users in this area. I will do it. Click on check to see if everything is correct. It indicates me that 3 teams will be created with the number of users, and I can click on import. And then on close. Once it's done, I can see that my 3 teams have been added. If you need help in this part, do not hesitate to ask us, or if you have some suggestions, do not hesitate also to ask us. Once you did it, you can now set up the assessment of group members phase. So you will define date, a start date and a end date. You can also allow late submission if you want to allow the student to submit their feedback after the deadline. You can activate some notifications if needed. In the instructions tab, you can define the instruction for this phase. So you have instruction by default, but you can change it if needed. And you have this tab, which is the assessment criteria. You can choose criteria from our ChallengeMe database by clicking on predefined criteria. So here I can choose behavioral criteria, so maybe autonomy on dedicated task. I can see everything like that. Complete task in a timely manner. So I have different criteria I can choose. So here, for example, I will choose this one. And I can also add a custom criteria. So to do it, I just have to click on Add Criterion. I will name my criterion. I will also add a description. So you can add just a description with text. You can also, if you want to copy paste the format of the description we have in our database, you can also do it and complete the different description for each of the I would say the steps of the criteria. We usually recommend around 5 criteria, but you can define as many criteria as you want. You can also add a feedback field to the criteria you want by checking this option, and you can make the feedback mandatory if needed. In the option button, you can activate the global feedback field, make it mandatory also. And you can also allow participants to declare an element as not evaluable. So let's imagine you define a criterion stress tolerance, and you never see your teammate in a situation of stress. You won't be able to assess this criteria. So as a student, you will be able to indicate, I can't assess this criterion, and I have to explain why I can't assess it as a student. So to activate this feature, you just have to do it here. And regarding the participant, because you already did it during the group registration phase, you don't have to do it again here because it's synchronized. 2 phases are synchronized. So you can see the different group of your challenge, and you can decide if you want, for example, if you don't want Agathe Bertrand to participate, you just have to uncheck it. But usually you will let everything checked. So this is how it works for the 2 phases. So just to understand, the group registration phase is a fictive phase representing the group rock. So you will just enroll the group in this phase, and the evaluation of group members, here this is the main phase, so you will define all the settings in this phase. We also have a result phase allowing the student to access their results. So here you can define the date when you want the student to be able to access their results. And you can also indicate what kind of information you want to provide to the students. So you can check the information. You can, for example, this is the average by criteria, the detail of the scores they received, and the feedback they received. So let's imagine you only want the student to access the feedback and not the grade. You can uncheck everything except the feedback. You can also let only the grade accessible and not the feedback, or everything. It's depends on what you want to display. So this is how to launch this kind of a challenge. Once it's done, you can click on publish, and it will be accessible for the students. At this moment, they just have to click on the activity in your LMS to access it. This is how to set up a challenge, and once it's created, you will be able to follow the participation by clicking on Results Viewer. So this button. I will send you the replay afterwards and different resources explaining everything I explained, because I know this is lots of information today. So don't worry, I will send you everything just after. So in this interface, you will see a chart of the score distribution. So here I have nothing because it's a new challenge, and the list of the students enrolled to my challenge. And I will be able to see the number of feedback received, their scores, the number of feedback they sent, their self-assessment. So I can compare the score with the self-assessment. So I can see everything here. I can also export the data in an Excel file if I want to have the feedback, the textual feedback, the participation, the score in an Excel sheet. So I can do it here. I will just show you with challenge where I have data. So to access to the administration interface, I just need to have the teacher right. So if you share your course with colleagues, they can access also the data of the challenge. So I click on it as a teacher. And because I have the right of the teacher, I will be redirected automatically to this interface. And here I can see the different phases of the challenge. So here it's a demo, so I have lots of phases. And I can see here the distribution of the scores, the average by criteria to see which criteria have been rated well and the others. I can also see the detail for each student. So I can see if they have validated work, the score they received, how many feedback, etc. The team they belong to. And if I click on one, I can see the average by criteria compared with the average of the class, and the different feedback the student received. If I need to edit an assessment, I can do it by clicking on the action button. I can modify the assessment, I can invalidate it, I can remove it, so I can manage all the feedback as I want. I also have a filter if I want, for example, to filter the overgraded score. I can do it. So I will be able to filter it here. So here I will see that Agathe Bertrand overgraded a work. So to understand why, I can click on it. And I will be able to see in the assessment sent that Team 4 has been undergraded by Agathe Bertrand. If I want to know why, I just click on it to see the context. And here I can see that she gave a 6.5 and the others gave 7.58. That's why it has been recognized as undergraded. So it will allow you to manage easily your challenge. So this is, and if you want to have a view by group, you can also, by clicking here, to have the view by group. So I'm done with this presentation. I know this is lots of information in 30 minutes, so I will send you some resources. But if you need me now to explain things, or if you want me to show you again some part, do not hesitate to activate your microphone and to ask your question, and I will answer it. So Is everything clear for everyone? If you have questions,
I have a question.
Yep. Thank you, Oslem.
Thanks for explaining everything. And I understand creating the challenge more or less.
Yeah.
But as a teacher, I want to evaluate, for example, each student and give grades based on
Yes.
their evaluation. So how am I going to do that? Because I want to also pass this grade to Moodle.
Yeah.
And is there any easy way of, rather than going through one by one, did he evaluate it? How did he evaluate? So is there an easy way of doing that?
Because you want to assess the quality of the feedback given by the students, or do you want to assess just the student?
For example, first criteria would be completion of feedback. For example, they did it, they get a tick mark, and for example, in their rubric of peer assessment. So did they finish the job? Yes.
Okay.
And this is only 5% of their mark. So finishing is not enough. I also want to put a criteria in the rubric to be able to say they really put a time into it rather than just clicking on it like, mindlessly.
Yeah. Okay. So regarding the participation, you can access it easily with the Excel file. But if you want to assess if they did the job correctly with the different feedback they gave, because this is what I understand, you want to see the kind of feedback they gave to see to give a grade regarding this. So I would say that you can do it directly by downloading the Excel file, because in the Excel file you will have a column with the feedback given and if the student participates. So you can just make an Excel formula to put a grade on this. If you want to add a specific phase for you to assess the students, you can do it in the challenge. So let's imagine I will go back to my test. This is this one. So this is the template I choose. But if you need to add a phase where you want to assess the students, you can still add a phase, an assessment phase. So here it's a rated assessment of submitted work, but with this phase you can assess the group you have registered in this phase. So you want to assess each of the students, not the group. So we can still make the settings allowing you to assess each of the students. I will show you if you want in a specific meeting, but I think what I heard, the easiest way to do it is to export the Excel sheet. I think you can do it in another way, but we don't have the feature yet. But it can be a really interesting feature. So because in the phase you can add the evaluation of feedback of received feedback. So let's imagine you add it. You would be able to add in the participant only you as a teacher to assess the quality of the feedback given by the students to give a grade. So let's imagine the criteria would be did they give a grade, or is the feedback relevant, for example. But for this moment, this phase is only for the student. It means that only the student who receive feedback will be able to assess their feedback. I can't enroll teacher in these phases. So maybe later it will be possible, but for now it's not the case. But as I heard, maybe you can do it with an Excel sheet. I don't know if it.
So how can I know about this? Because I will have my course starting soon. Should we separately organize a meeting about this to show me how I can grade?
Yeah, maybe we can plan a specific meeting so that we can create your challenge together regarding what you want to do.
Yes, all right. So I will maybe you can reach out to me with your calendar. I can pick
Yeah.
a date to meet.
Yeah, I will send you a link where you will be able to choose the date you want.
All right, great. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Oslem.
Thank you. Have a good day, everyone.
Do you have any other question? Or is it okay? Okay, thank you again for everyone for attending this webinar. Yes, Lana, I can see you activated your microphone.
No, yeah, I just wanted to thank you. Well,
Okay.
personally, I haven't started using ChallengeMe, but I want to use it soon for a course. So,
Okay.
I mean, if I would have questions, then I hope I can get back to you. And
Of course, we can plan a meeting,
Yeah.
and if you
Perfect.
you want, we can create your challenge together. Which school do you belong to?
YESEG.
YESEG. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have lots of teacher using ChallengeMe in YESEG.
Yeah, indeed. So I want to hop on the trends as well and use it, especially here for the evaluation of peers. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone, and I wish you a good afternoon. Bye.
Thank you.